talking to me?
Holy cow.
We talking about practice.
You're a goalie. You're supposed to be like that.
You cannot be serious!
Hello and welcome back to Sports Talk with Dad. My name is Kyle, and as always, I cannot call this Sports Talk with Dad without the man sitting next to me, a man who was alive when the Dead Sea was still sick, my dad, Tim. Now, before you get into this, I have to do the introduction on this one. I am way too excited right now because we talked about this yesterday. Nathaniel Hackett is the new head coach of the Denver Broncos.
And we talked about possibilities a couple days ago on our previous video, which if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. We might have been ahead of the curve on this one.
We might have. I think we nailed this, so I need you guys to do something for me because we're going to talk about this trade again today. I need you to like, I need you to subscribe, and I need you to share this with as many people as you possibly can. I want this to get to the Packers, I want this to get to the Broncos, and I want this to get to the Seahawks because this would change the landscape of football and trades forever. I want to start this off. I want Rodgers to stay in Green Bay. He's one of my all-time favorite players. I don't want him to leave.
We don't want him to leave Green Bay, but
if he wants to, this trade needs to happen. I'm going to let you introduce this because this was your idea.
Okay, so again, we want Rodgers to stay. But if he makes a decision he wants to go, let's get outside of the normal trade 1-for-1 to one team. Let's make this a 3-team trade.
3 teams.
So we're going to Rodgers is going to go to Denver. Denver's got a lot of draft picks.
11 picks this April.
Who needs draft picks because they're really rebuilding the Seattle Seahawks? The Packers are going to need a quarterback because I'm sorry, Jordan Love just isn't going to be the guy going forward. So let's bring a Wisconsin legend back to Wisconsin in the form of Russell Wilson to lead the Green Bay Packers.
Russell Wilson back to Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers to Denver. I think that's the only team Rodgers goes to, especially now if he's traded. There's nobody else on the list.
None that I can see. I think it would be crazy for him to go because you're going to an AFC that's packed with great quarterbacks.
Correct.
The NFC is in a down cycle right now. His best chance to get a Super Bowl, I still think, is in Green Bay. But as you said, sometimes you just want to get a new car.
Sometimes you do. Sometimes you just want to go someplace else. You want to try something new, and there's nothing wrong with that. I couldn't imagine doing the same exact thing for 17 years, not doing anything different. You know, for me, I think everybody gets that way. If you're doing the same thing for 17 years in the same place with the same people, I'm sure you want to try something new. So I don't blame him for wanting to go someplace else if that's what he wants.
If it's what he wants, and you said if you were the Packers, you go and get Alex Van Pelt to come back as the offensive coordinator.
If Alex Van Pelt is signed as the offensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers, it's done. Rodgers isn't going anywhere. If I'm the Packers, I have already made that call, and I'm announcing that hire tomorrow.
Right.
LaFleur calls the plays anyways. Bring in Alex Van Pelt, somebody that Rodgers talks about on a regular basis as being a reason why he's so great. Bring him in as the offensive coordinator. Rodgers stays.
And there's a lot of crazy talk about the Packers trading Rodgers and Devontae Adams to Denver.
Right.
Why? I don't think the Packers want to bury themselves.
So let's talk about the numbers on this, right? Packers negative 40 on the cap, right? Got to make some rooms. Or some moves, some rooms with the moves. There's my screw up. You did it yesterday. We're back to normal. I get my one screw up now. So we got to make some room on that cap. Russ Ball's amazing with the cap. He'll make it happen.
Right.
Denver's got $40 million in cap space, right? They bring on Rodgers. They restructure. They have 11 draft picks. A lot of free agents out there.
Bada boom, bada bing.
Life is happy there. The Seattle Seahawks have $42 million in cap space, so they got room to go. All of a sudden, they take Russell Wilson off their books. That adds another $30 million. They get a chance to rebuild. Here's my exact thought, right? So there's 2 options out here. Because what did Detroit just get when they traded Matthew Stafford?
They got Jared Goff.
They got 2 firsts.
Yeah.
They got a third. They got Jared Goff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the reality of what this needs to be.
I think it's 3 firsts at least for Rodgers.
I don't think you have to do that because if you're Seattle, you're going to get a quarterback out of this too, right? So what does Denver get? Denver just gets Aaron Rodgers, the two-time MVP.
Good luck.
Be happy because
Right.
I'm going to miss him like crazy.
I am too.
The Packers get Russell Wilson. That's all you get. We get another Hall of Fame quarterback that we get to restructure and hopefully keep Devontae Adams with that move there in a weak NFC North. I mean, we're right back on top of the division again.
We're not rebuilding at that point because you restructure Russell Wilson, get him in a long term. You've got then the room to move Devontae and get him what he wants.
Correct.
Plus, you're going to have extra cap room. And all these people who keep saying, wait a minute, the Packers are over the cap, so they've got to make major moves to get under the cap. You've got a big TV contract coming, and New Orleans is perpetually like $70 million over the cap.
Correct.
Russ Ball's a smart guy. We'll get under the cap somehow.
We will. We're going to lose some players,
Sure.
but as long as Gutekunst can get a little bit better at drafting, we'll be fine. And I think what happens then is Denver sends 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and either the Packers send Jordan Love to Seattle or the Broncos send Drew Lock to Seattle.
I think that's more likely. And honestly, though,
or they get both.
Maybe, and I would think, okay, there you go. Pick your starter out
Right.
of that. However, I do think if we're giving up the 2-time MVP, the best quarterback talent-wise in the NFL, we
Right.
can get a couple draft picks back as well. I think there's room for negotiation on that, but essentially we're trading Rodgers for Wilson.
The Packers are trading Rodgers for Wilson. Denver ends up getting Rodgers, and then Seattle ends
Gets
up
a lot
with
of
a plethora
draft picks.
of draft picks. I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, I think if you go by what the Lions got for Stafford in that trade. Now Goff's a better quarterback than either Drew
Right.
Lock or Jordan Love, which may raise that third to a second-round pick. But say it raised to a second-round pick, right? Then all of a sudden Seattle gets 2 first rounds, a second-round pick, and their pick of Drew Lock or Jordan Love.
I think if you're Seattle, you're holding out for a lot of those 11 picks from this draft because they're going to
got to be this year's, because if you're getting
Right.
Aaron Rodgers, at best that pick's going to be in the mid-20s.
Yeah, you're losing your draft value and your position quickly.
Right.
So you do like Dallas did when they traded Herschel Walker to Minnesota. They got a ton of draft picks in that 1 year,
Correct.
and they turned it into the Cowboys dynasty of the early 90s.
Correct. Well, especially for Seattle since they don't have a first-round pick this year.
It makes perfect sense from all of those different aspects we've looked at. The question is, a conservative team like the Packers, are they going to think outside the box enough to make this happen?
Well, that's where we need your help. We need you to help us share this and get this out there. We're going to put it out to the world. We need your help getting this out to the world. We got to get this to the Packers. We got to get this to the Broncos. We got to get this to the Seahawks, because this is a situation where the Packers don't lose. The Broncos don't lose. Seattle doesn't lose. Everybody gets exactly what they need from this trade. And what has Aaron Rodgers always said he wants to do? I want to leave the game and make an impact to change it forever.
You've never seen this kind of a trade in the NFL that I can remember.
There's never been a 3-team trade.
Yeah.
It's never happened. And this is something where all teams win. Seattle gets to start that process of rebuilding. They get a quarterback for the next couple of years that they can throw out there.
Wilson's not happy in Seattle as it is because of Pete Carroll. That relationship has kind of went
and
sideways.
Pete Carroll's,
he's a defensive coach.
He's 70-something. I mean,
he's up there.
He's up there. I can't imagine him coaching much longer, but who knows?
He wants to make another run. I'll guarantee you that.
He does. But Seattle's in a position where they're going to rebuild. I mean, they need that offensive line's bad.
And I don't think the Packers need to rebuild. And they certainly don't need to rebuild with Jordan Love as a quarterback.
The Packers don't need to rebuild specifically because the offensive line is sound. As long as our big left tackle isn't permanently hurt, which could be the case. It's a scary injury at this point, but if he comes back, we get Elton Jenkins back. Billy Turner will have to restructure, but I can't imagine him not wanting to come back as long as either Rodgers or Wilson is there.
Can you imagine the excitement of the Packer team if we all of a sudden have Russell Wilson leading the team?
Yeah.
We get a new car as well.
Yep. I want to put one thing out there, too, for all you Packer fans that have already yelled at me for this thumbnail. I'm not saying Russell Wilson in Green Bay would be number 3. I understand the numbers retired. I don't believe in taking numbers down from the rafters.
Okay, who's it retired? What player?
Tony Cannondale.
Okay, you got it. So we're not going to
to
go to the Cannondale family.
He wears number 3 right now. And so it was an easy switch.
He'll probably come back and wear, as you mentioned, number 16, which is what he wore in Wisconsin.
College. I got to imagine he'll come back and wear that number. But yes, so please don't scream at me for just putting him in number 3 when the number's retired. I get it. He'll have to change the number. Okay. That being said, so this is my pick, and I want to see what you think about it. I think Rodgers to Denver, Wilson to Green Bay, 2 firsts, a second, and their pick, the first and the second in this year's draft, and a first in next year's draft, and their Seattle's pick of either Drew Lock or Jordan Love or both, and they go to Seattle.
I think Seattle is going to get more late round picks from Denver. They're going to raid Denver of their picks if they're giving up their Hall of Fame quarterback. So I think it's going to be more than that, but I don't think it's a bad thing because Denver's got to, they've got a good basis of a team now.
Right. The Packers are off the hook for picks in this trade.
Correct.
They're giving up the 2-time reigning MVP, 4-time MVP overall.
Yeah.
I mean, the Packers aren't giving anything up but Aaron Rodgers. It's the
best
Packers
player
have
in the game. A good defense right now. I mean, they played unbelievably in the playoff game. Our structure's in place. Denver's got a young team with a good structure in place.
Right.
We keep Davante Adams. Sorry, Denver. There's no way I'm trading Adams if we're doing this.
Nope.
Seattle gets draft picks up the wazoo to rebuild with, and Russell Wilson leads the Packers. And wouldn't that be a Super Bowl next year?
Oh,
which could happen.
Denver, Green Bay at that point. Hackett versus LaFleur. How did I just forget his name?
Yeah.
Hackett versus LaFleur. Rodgers versus Wilson. I don't think Russell Wilson would have any issues coming back to Wisconsin.
I think he'd love to come back to Wisconsin.
He loved it here.
Yeah.
I lived in Madison when Russell Wilson was the quarterback for the Badgers, and he was the most loved person in the state at that point.
And he still loves the state. I mean, whenever he introduces himself on a Monday night or a Sunday night game, right. Russell Wilson, a whole lot of Badgers.
Yeah. Imagine him doing that now. Oh, the state would go nuts.
So, I know this is a quicker video than our normal ones, but we wanted to get it out there. As Kyle said, please please subscribe. We need subscribers to build the channel. And most of all, share this with everyone.
This needs to get to the NFL teams. It has to. This trade is amazing. Again, I want to end this. I want Aaron Rodgers to stay a Green Bay Packer.
I
also want to say this. I also understand after 17 years wanting to go and do something else.
Sure.
And I'm going to cheer for him, wish him the best of luck. But at that point, we got to worry about our team, and we can get Russell Wilson out of this. And
we're a Packer
this
fan.
Isn't fictional.
No, it's not fiction this time.
This is very real. This could happen.
And we're Packer fans first.
Cheer for the colors, not the number.
That's it. I mean, I'm not going back to what happened with Favre.
I cheered for Favre when he left.
I did
but
too.
I was a Packer fan first.
Exactly.
The same thing here. This is where the Packers can win. This is where we can keep Davante Adams.
And where we don't have to rebuild.
There's no rebuild. We'll have to do some cap magic, which is fine. But all of a sudden, you go back to back to back Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
And Wilson's got 8 or 9 years left. So it's not like he's going to retire in a couple years.
At least. And can you imagine Wilson sitting behind a line where he's not having to run for his life?
It would be amazing. So, again, it's a short video. We're going to keep it short.
Yes.
Please share this with everybody you know. Hit the little like and subscribe and like button down below. I did it this time.
We're switching roles today.
I know.
This is exciting.
And we'll have another video coming up a little bit later this week with our NFC and AFC championship game picks.
Yes, we just had to redo this video once Nathaniel Hackett actually became the head coach of Denver. I'm very excited for this. Like I said, Aaron Rodgers, I love you to death, man. If you want to go, I understand. Let's get Russell Wilson then to Green Bay and make that trade.
Let's do it.
All right, guys, this has been Sports Talk with Dad, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye now.